You're listening to Counterclockwise, where we decide the best of unimportant categories. And just like the last holiday, we got a part 2 for you, because we just don't know when to cut it off when it comes to beating up on holiday characters.
These are my favorite. These are my favorite episodes, because I just go on with my fantasy in my head.
Yeah, it's so fun. But anyway, so here is part 2 of the Ultimate Showdown Christmas special, coming up in about 23 seconds. All right, so first off here, we got on part 2, we got they apparently were decorating through the night.
All night.
All night they've been working. So we have our first match, our first competition of the Christmas special here was, if you remember from last episode, was the Christmas lighting competition between the Tool Man, Tim Taylor, and Clark W. Griswold of Christmas Vacation fame, whose wife just took home the Queen of the North Pole title.
Correct.
The Golden Ornament.
Yep.
So that family's riding high. Got a lot to live up to, Mr. Griswold. So let's check in real quick on them, on their progress, see what happened, see how they went overnight.
I think quantity-wise, like, again, Clark's still ahead of the game.
Yeah.
But Clark's quality, it's starting to tail off because, throughout the night, he's been hitting the eggnog.
Yeah.
He's been hitting
drinking right out of that moose mug.
He's been hitting the moose cup.
Yeah.
So,
and his cousin Eddie showed up and slowed him down. And,
yeah. We got some distractions.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tim Taylor over here, he's catching up, but he's also putting on the presentation.
Yeah. He also figured out how to turn his nail gun into an automatic nail gun.
Yeah.
So he's just shooting he's standing on the gutter going
yeah,
just firing away.
One window's already boarded up.
Yeah.
Because he shot it malfunctioned and shot through the window.
Just kept going.
Yeah. So
like a fire hose.
Yeah.
It's
you can tell where it veered off.
You can see the trail up and down the house.
Yeah. And he's got some sort of like drawbridge or something.
Yeah, some kind of crazy,
weird light
pneumatic situation.
Yeah, it's like he's got his own Santa Rey Mysterio or something where you got a drawbridge that opens up and it's just like a hydraulic
Santa
thing that
pops
just
up. Yeah.
Just like this cool interactive Santa just pops up.
Yeah, like a cuckoo clock. Just
yeah.
Ho ho ho. And then it drops down. He put a motorcycle engine into, I don't know, like a Santa sleigh, and it's just riding around the house or something.
So I think in this update, Clark's still technically in the lead by how much he's got up.
As far as quantity,
but
he's got about the entire house has lights on it, but he's also half of it's not lit because he hasn't figured that part out.
And he's in the middle of crisis mode with so many distractions going on right now. Meanwhile, Tim is caught up.
He's got a 4-alarm holiday emergency. Yeah. It's going to come down to the wire.
One more update should.
Yeah, we should have a winner here
after that
tonight. Yeah. Okay, so moving on from that, we got our next match up here. Now we do have this. One of these competitors did fight last night, so he might be a little rough, or it might be a little worse for the wear, but he's a strong competitor. So, and he was also part of a team. So okay, we'll see. But here it is, in a no holds barred match. We have Roman Reigns versus...
oh my God, I didn't even think of that, Reigns. That's good.
We have Roman Reigns versus a sentient John Deere lawn tractor.
What?
Round 5.
The lawn tractor that Rainn Wilson was riding earlier, last in part 1. We've given it sentience, and now he's in a no-holds-barred match against Roman Reigns. Yeah, for a little peek behind the curtain. This is the one I was debating whether I wanted to do both of them, because I thought of this one first. Well, actually, at first I thought of Roman Reigns on a John Deere, and then I was like, oh, I should do a race.
That's pretty funny.
But then I thought of doing a race, but I'm like, oh, what if to simplify it, I just make them fight each other, Roman Reigns versus a lawn tractor. So I switched that to Rainn Wilson and made this Roman Reigns. Yeah, so we got Roman Reigns versus a John Deere.
Sentient John Deere.
Yeah, so it's the same tractor from before. He just has sentience now. And we've removed the blades. So this is not a death match, but it is no holds barred.
Who did the operation to make him sentient? Like Rick from Rick and Morty? Or somebody less skilled?
I think this is just like a Carrie, or not a Carrie,
like
Christine situation,
right,
I don't know, something magical.
So like a meteor just hit nearby, like
something like that,
over in like fucking Dallas.
Yeah,
and
I don't know why Dallas, but yeah,
first thing because fuck Dallas, I don't know.
Okay, all right, yeah. So yeah, a meteor lands. And some sort of like space dust comes off of it,
and only goes towards that specific tractor.
Yeah, that's it. He's just like out back, like smoking a ciggy, and that's when it lands.
Because I was gonna say there'd be a big difference between.
This was before he was sentient, though.
Yeah.
He was out smoking a ciggy somehow.
I was gonna say it'd be a big difference between a sentient tractor that.
Here's an idea. Maybe after the race, Rainn Wilson is like pushing the mower out back, and he's like pushing it into the trailer. That's when it hits. Rainn Wilson's consciousness goes into the tractor, and now they become one. So we have Rainn Wilson's brain inside a John Deere.
And he portrays Dwight Schrute inside the tractor.
Yeah, so it's Dwight Schrute's personality inside the John Deere against Roman Reigns in a no-holds-barred match.
I mean, on paper, obviously it's no debate.
Yeah, but that also means like he can use weapons. He can use some like a steel pipe or something.
Yeah, well,
but also for a tractor, all you'd have to do is somehow figure out how to disable it.
I mean,
like
you
just like pull the fuel hose or something.
Puncture one tire.
Yeah, that too. Do enough damage to like one of the shocks or something, and he's
well. And you also keep in mind there's a 0% chance that the bloodline doesn't get involved.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's basically the bloodline versus a sentient tractor. That's never going to be not funny saying that out loud.
Yeah, and again, top speed around 8.5 miles per hour, straight line speed.
He's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to spear him or Superman punch him because he'll.
That's true.
Break every bone.
He just breaks yeah. So really, what he's got to do is just maybe come at him from the side and try to like flip it. But that'd be pretty tough because the tractor's just going to keep on trucking.
Well, if it's sentient, it's not necessarily on four wheels the whole time.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's still just a tractor. Sentient just means it has intelligence,
right?
Like it can move.
But
it's not going to stand up like a cartoon character.
Oh, okay.
It's I keep saying Carrie. It's like Christine.
Yeah.
Or it's just a car that can move its parts. But Christine doesn't like stand up and shoot people.
What's that one Stephen King movie? Not the Christine.
Oh, the truck one.
Yeah.
What is that movie? Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Where it's basically like Christine, except it's a bunch of trucks at like a junkyard or something, right?
Maximum Overdrive.
Maximum Overdrive. That's the one. Yeah.
All these sentient trucks and one dies and they like all these trucks are just like beeping horns, crying, like mourning the loss of a truck.
Yeah. It's basically just a John Deere that can control itself as if it had a driver, but
we got to keep in mind Rainn Wilson is inside of it.
Yeah.
Or basically Dwight Schrute.
Yeah, Dwight Schrute. Because you have the ruthlessness of Dwight Schrute with the power of a lawn tractor.
I keep going back to the classic Christmas episode with the snowmen. Somehow he built all those snowmen in that short amount of time in the parking lot, and nobody knew where he was the whole time.
Yep.
And somehow he was able to hide in one of them.
So somehow, build a snowman around himself.
And it was all perfectly smooth. I don't
know.
Anyways.
So yeah, I think the only way, like you said, I mean, they could come out, they could get like a couple of solid weapons and try to like double team it, but I feel like just having four wheels and an engine, he's just going to be able to peel out of there anytime there's trouble.
Okay, every Roman Reigns match when he was a heel, it was 1-on-1, and then Bloodline always got involved. So that's what it started. It started off 1-on-1 because Roman has such a big ego, thinking he could take on a tractor himself.
Yeah.
Bloodline gets involved. Mm-hmm. But see, here's the thing. Yeah, the tractor can, but if his top speed's at 8 miles an hour,
yeah,
and it's not zero turn,
mm-hmm.
they can just surround him.
I don't know that they have the strength to stop a lawn tractor like in its tracks.
The Usos are going to come out with like
I don't know that they'd be able to hold it back. He might just be able to run him over.
The Usos are going to come out with a steel chain and like a lead pipe.
Yeah, and just start beating.
Solo Sikoa is going to come out with, the trash can full of weapons.
Yeah.
That won't do anything to a tractor, so I don't know why he would come out with it.
The tractor's probably good enough that he'd be able to break a leg or two. So, early on. So then it's probably only like maybe 2-on-1 at that point.
I think the Usos are smart enough to be able to use the chain, stretch it across the tractor.
Oh, to kind of stop
and get it caught up in the wheels.
Yeah.
And kind of burn up the engine that way.
Yeah, but it's also sentient, so he can move those wheels independently if he wants to. Doesn't necessarily have to go straight.
Bloodline has 4 members. While they're doing that,
That's true.
Solo or Roman's behind you taking the steel pipe or trying to
wedging it into the engine block.
Trying to break off one of the shocks or trying to pierce the tire.
Yeah, that's true.
I never thought a match between Roman Reigns and a tractor would be this hard.
Do you think there'd be a group of face fighters here that would come out to aid the Dwight Schrute tractor?
Kayfabe wise, no.
No.
Nobody ever helps the baby faces. But if it's a heel, everybody's friends.
Would Dwight Schrute be a babyface though?
He's 100% a tweener.
Yeah. It's like a fan favorite bad guy.
Yeah. What's the meme where it's like the graph and it's like neutral chaotic or whatever?
Yeah.
That's kind of Dwight.
Yeah. If it's just Bloodline against the tractor, I think they take him out. But if the tractor has any buddies in the back, maybe Leslie Mann rides out in her snowmobile.
I was going to say, do you think Red Foreman's
all the competitors from the race come out and circle the wagons?
Except for Kane. Kane just he's neutral and he just is still pissed off.
Yeah. He also wouldn't be able to do much because his vehicle, his cookie vehicle, is destroyed. He gave it a spine buster over the knee.
Ginger Rogers is still trying to get her bread truck to run.
Yeah, she can't get it started. No. So basically, it's just Leslie Mann and Red Foreman circling the wagons.
Yeah.
They take out the Bloodline, but also get hurt themselves a little bit. So then it's back to 1-on-1. The tractor's pretty beat up, but Roman's also like nursing a leg wound. Got some road rash. But I feel like the tractor's probably a little too beat up. I think Roman kind of comes in and steals it afterward.
I just think with like a chain and several steel pipes and even chairs, you could get enough chairs and jam it inside there somehow, inside, like in between the wheels or whatever.
Yeah, you could
if
probably
you do enough at the same time,
wedge it up a little bit so he loses traction in the back.
If you do it you do enough weapons at the same time,
you're really gonna beat him up. And again, all you got to do is find like the fuel hose or something and bust that loose.
Exactly,
he can't go nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd probably just be like a KO, right?
He
couldn't move anymore.
I think we get the table out. We put him through a table just for old time's sake, just because that's you got to get out.
Tractor. I don't know. That'd be pretty tough. It'd be like Hulk Hogan lifting Andre the Giant. He somehow gets him up on his shoulders.
Well, before they do it, of course, Braun Strowman comes out.
Okay.
Then they get him up.
Yeah. Okay. Ultimately, I think Roman Reigns, with the aid of the Bloodline, takes this one.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Ding, ding.
So stupid. Okay. Next match here, kind of a throwback. We had a similar one in the last one that you had. little blasphemous, but it's okay. So we have a baby Jesus-sized Santa versus a Santa-sized baby Jesus.
Uh-huh.
Round 6.
We got Santa Claus, but in this case, he's shrunken down to he's about 20 inches tall. This is the Rudolph version, the stop motion version of Santa, the one that you don't like very much.
Stupid big head.
Yeah, stupid big. This is like skinny Santa. So yeah, he's 20 inches tall. He's got a little bit of magic. But not like a ton. And then baby Jesus is an infant, a newborn. He was just born today, literally. But he's 5'10".
If he's just a newborn infant.
Yeah.
Is it even a match?
I mean, Santa's 20 inches tall, but then and this baby is gigantic. They're just constantly kicking. You might think it's like a toy. He just grabs him.
A newborn.
Yeah.
Newborns don't do that.
They move.
Barely.
Yeah, I mean they move.
They're not kicking and grabbing for toys.
I mean, maybe not toys, but they still grab things. They reach out.
They grab your
reach
finger.
out.
They grab your finger if you put it near their hand.
Yeah, I mean, he might be moving a little bit. Okay, maybe this is like January 1st or January 20th. Baby Jesus. I don't know. He's like a month old baby Jesus. I don't know. I don't know.
They had him in the incubator for a month.
Yeah. But also this
Why
is...
did I say incubator?
he was a preemie. I mean, that's what they call it. When preemies are born, they put them in an incubator. I think so. I think that's what they call it. I mean, you got a good point, but he also is big, and it's only a 20-inch little Santa. He's a little tiny guy. I don't know that he's going to be able to do much to like a giant baby like that. I feel like even though he's not very strong yet, like just a little squeeze might do Santa in if he gets a good handle on him. Sticks him in his mouth, gums him up a little. Well, you might be right. He's not moving very fast if he's newborn.
Yeah, I mean, he's not.
He might be able to accidentally perform a miracle or two, though.
I think the
he
only
just,
thing
waves his hand a certain way.
I think the only thing that
mix
could
water into
happen
wine.
is while the baby-sized Santa is like climbing the baby to like do something, like jump in his ear hole to fucking do something. I don't know. While he's climbing, baby shits himself. Just purely off coincidental timing.
Or the other way. That'd be like a fire hose coming at you.
It's true.
A newborn baby stream.
But
right
it's all
20-inch Santa.
It's all gonna be in a diaper though.
But this is like Nazareth baby Jesus. They might not have had very good diapers back then. Babies pee.
Babies do pee. Babies do pee. But I also feel like Santa would be aware of that, okay?
He wets the diaper and he loses his grip then.
Okay.
I don't know.
I feel like he'd be aware enough to not crawl on one side or the other. He would crawl on the side.
Yeah, he's probably trying to climb up the baby fat side.
Yeah.
Got a little more to grip there. But then he tickles the baby. He gets one of those little twitches. That's all it takes to kill a little 20-inch Santa. A little arm twitch.
Man, oh man.
From those little pudgy little arms. Those little Michelin Man arms. I don't know. But
and then he gets
he
gets up to the top close to the head or whatever. Babies cry.
Yeah.
I think
20-inch little eardrums.
And they are screamers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
is true.
That's gonna
that might do it. Again, but newborn baby can't roll over on himself yet or on his own yet. So all Santa's really got to do is just get on top, and it's a pin. Unless the baby moves an arm, lifts a shoulder.
So it is just a regular.
It's just a one fall pin match. As long as Santa can get up there without the baby screaming or grabbing him or something, or like moving suddenly and pinching him, I think Santa takes it. That's all he's got to do. Strategically climb up on top of the baby to where they can count it as a pin.
I mean, his sack that he carries when he delivers presents is huge. All he'd have to do, just put an oversized binky in the sack.
Oh, that's smart. Get the big binky.
Crawling up Mount Baby.
Yeah.
Gets to the top. He's, I don't know. He's got some beats on. Some noise-canceling beats.
Those would also be in the bag. He just pulls out some gift earplugs or headphones or something.
That's just enough to drown out the noise.
Drown out the sound.
Pulls out the big binky. Bam.
Yeah, boom.
Mouth, pin, match.
Done. Does Jesus, he can heal the blind or cure the blind, give them sight, whatever you call that. Does he have the power to take that away? Could he blind somebody who could see? You think that's possible? I feel like if you can go one way, you can go the other.
I would assume so.
Yeah. What if the baby, not knowing his powers yet, what if baby Jesus accidentally blinds Santa just by going like, well, he's probably not making all that. Well, I know they make noise. Accidentally blinds Santa.
Again,
I mean, he can probably still feel his way around.
He feels his way around.
All he's got to know is binky, mouth, pin.
He lost his sight, but he didn't lose his brain. He didn't lose his intuition.
Intuition.
He didn't lose his anything but his eyesight. So it's going to be a struggle.
All he's really got to do is crawl up.
Yeah.
He knows generally where he's going.
Yeah, babies are they're fat enough to where it's basically Braille. You could just tell what's a good climbing spot.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that's as much of a disadvantage.
I think Santa gets knocked down 3 or 4 times. Then he reveals the binky in the sack.
Yeah, it's like, all right, secret weapon, giant binky.
Because his ego,
Yeah,
especially that Santa.
Yeah, that Santa.
That Santa has a big enough ego.
I don't need this freak Rudolph.
Yeah. I always feel so bad for the land of misfit toys. It's like...
Yeah, it's terrible. He just dumps them off because they're weird looking. And they're not even that weird.
No. One has...
A spotted elephant? Come on. Yeah. Any kid would love that.
Right.
A gun that shoots jelly? Are you kidding me? That's like a dream. The boat that doesn't float. That's a problem. But you can just play on the ground. It doesn't have to float. A boat that can't stay afloat. Anyway,
so yeah, I think unfortunately that Santa wins.
Any way you slice it,
he's winning.
Evil Santa. The bad Santa from Rudolph wins.
Ding, ding.
Alrighty. I think it's time, right before the main event. That's the only match we have left, but we do have to decide the winner of our lighting competition, our Christmas household lighting competition between Tim the Toolman Taylor and Clark W. Griswold III. So where are we stacking? Or where do they stack up at this point?
All right.
They got to be wrapping up. We're down to like 30 seconds left on the competition. So where are we sitting?
Here's what we got to consider here. Like I said, Clark's kind of buzzed or drunk towards this end, right? So his quality is falling off, but he got everything up, right?
Is it all lit though?
I'm saying yes, but right at 1.
Yeah.
Because
last second.
Because Ellen comes in and saves the day again.
Ellen, with her taped up ribs, walks out, flips the right switch, remembers which switch she's got to flip.
With a very visible limp.
Hits it. Yeah, visible limp. And then, Clark does the... And then, Ode to Joy starts playing right at the last second.
So everything's lit. But again, it's all just white lights. Kind of boring, but it's a lot to off a lot of light.
Yeah. Well, I feel like he'd probably step it up for this one a little bit. That was like his first go at it, was the white lights. So he might have added a little color.
True.
But I'm thinking probably like chunks of solid color. He's not doing like the multicolor. He's doing like green on the roof, red on the walls, that kind of a situation. Green trees or blue trees maybe.
Yeah, we can roll with that.
Yeah.
So he's got that. Like everything I just said, right?
Yep.
Now we go to Tim Taylor.
And it's a ton of lights, too. He's got basically every surface covered in lights.
Yeah.
So
many lights where he's going to basically have to re-side his house because of how many staples he put in it.
Yeah. And the lights are producing enough heat that it's melting it.
Right. Yeah. And because back in the 80s, those lights let off a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Whereas Tim Taylor, not as many, but it's better looking.
Yeah, it's more complicated. It's
if you had to judge it right then and there, it'd probably be Tim Taylor. But can we be sure something won't blow up within the first 30 seconds of the match being over?
That's the key. Do we need a time limit? Like your display has to be fully lit. Or we judge it after like a minute of viewing. I think that's probably the case.
I'm thinking
you gotta take everybody around, show everybody everything after the time's done.
I'm thinking like 2
minutes.
minutes.
And if anything goes out after that, you got to play it as it lies.
I'm thinking 2 minutes because you got to make sure Clark's everything will stay on,
stay lit,
and he won't pop a breaker.
Yeah, won't blow a breaker
because you can't.
They gotta turn on the backup power in Chicago. You
got to make sure his stuff stays on, and you got to make sure Tim's stuff doesn't blow up.
Yeah.
So basically, we got to determine what's going to happen first.
Yeah, I think initially, like you said, I think that your eye kind of goes toward Tim because he's got more complicated. It's more thought out. Not quite as much lit, but it definitely looks a lot better. But I think a few of the things start going off in that time span. I think Clark probably has the legs to kind of keep it lit enough because he had aid from Helen.
You see smoke starting to rise up for Tim Taylor.
Yeah, but like maybe his pneumatic Santa probably blew something, and now it got launched 50 feet in the air.
Yeah.
But so he's lost that part, and he's got something over here that probably caught on fire. He had to kind of emergency put that out.
Meanwhile, we're getting to the end, getting to the very final seconds, and wow, that's hard to say. Clark's lights, they're flickering.
Yeah. Something's going on.
They're starting to flicker, but they're still on.
I think they might hold out for the time, but
I think this is a Christmas light version of the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it wouldn't be that way because Tim started out slow, and so I guess it really wouldn't be like that.
They both had tortoise and hare qualities.
Correct. Yeah. So while the quality isn't quite there, he's
definitely still got the quantity, and it's got the legs to hold up the whole time.
I think it holds up just enough for that 2 minutes, whereas Tim's doesn't.
Yeah. But do you think Tim still has the complicated factor, even without the two things that he lost, the thing that caught fire and the Santa that got launched into the air? Even without those, do you think that's enough to hold up? Because it doesn't necessarily have to hold up. It's just whatever you're left with at the end of those 2 minutes. That's what we're judging.
Problem is, he would make the Santa hydraulic Santa or whatever. That was supposed to be his.
Yeah, that's going to be a centerpiece.
That's the show stealer right there.
He lost a couple of his tentpole attractions here.
That's where he wanted your eyes to go to. That's why he didn't spend a lot of time on the others, because that's just that's the background.
Yeah.
So once that's gone,
but it is Tim Taylor. Is he really going to have background? Is he really just going to have boring old background? He's gonna pull out the stops on the rest of the stuff.
No, but my point is, when you lose the Santa, you're focused on where that Santa's going to land, and then afterwards, you don't really care.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think you have to take that into account. It didn't hold up.
Yeah. But we're judging what's left, I think. Well, I don't think he gets knocked for it not holding up. It's not there when we judge it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not part of the ensemble when we go to make the final judgment of whose is better ultimately by the end of it.
That's
so Clark has some flickering lights over here.
That's fine.
He's got the quantity, but Tim has more complicated, but it's even smaller than it was at the beginning.
And a very noticeable hole where that Santa was.
Yeah, there's a
smoking.
a gap. Yeah.
So.
And
your eyes are going to go
fire extinguisher residue over in the corner.
Your eyes are going to go straight to that.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That is a good point. So big and boring versus complicated, and noticeably there's a hole in the middle. So, you think we go with Clark because it's a little bit cleaner?
I think
it's a little broader and a little cleaner.
Barely.
He definitely got the quantity in there. He definitely trumped him on that situation.
I think barely. I think they're sitting together as a family outside, all holding arms, just like death gripping each other.
Drum roll.
Just and just doing that as good luck to make the lights stay on.
Yeah.
And because once they call it, that's when everything's that's when the house will blow up.
Yeah.
Literally, the house will blow up.
It's on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the ants out there, and he left the gas on the stove or something, and one of the lights burst and. Okay, cool.
Who's hungry?
Okay, so we think Clark ultimately takes
that one. I think
he
takes it, yeah.
So, the husband and wife, man, both winning their big matches there.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Big day in the Griswold household.
Clark Griswold.
Ding, ding.
All right. Down to our main event. Our main event for part 2 here. It all comes down to this.
And this is again, I just threw a bunch of names in there. It is a mixed tag match. It's a fatal 4-way mixed tag match.
Oh, my God. Okay.
And this is the Clash of the Clauses, Battle for the Jolly Throne.
Okay.
Final round.
The victors of the match will hold the official title of Santa and Mrs. Santa. Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
Okay.
And the competitors, we have Scott and Carol Calvin of the Santa Claus franchise.
Okay. Is that his
from
wife from the
Santa Claus
second
2.
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when he meets.
Yeah.
That was the tornado day.
Yeah.
We have Nick and Annette Claus from Fred Claus.
Okay.
Mr. and Mr. Claus from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, so double feature. He got a potion to grow back into normal size.
Okay. He reverted to normal size. Okay.
And then we have Mr. and Mrs. Claus from the Christmas Chronicles.
Christmas Chronicles?
Yeah,
What is that?
The Kurt Russell, Goldie Hawn one.
Oh, that was like a recent one, wasn't it?
Netflix.
Like within the last couple years.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this like a tornado tag situation? Oh, I guess is it so mixed tag, is that the one? I don't know. I guess we can decide whether they do this or not. Is that the one where they have to switch?
Mm-hmm.
So like when the women go in, or when you tag one of the women and the rest of them have to tag into.
Yeah.
Is that how we want to do it? Or is it just going to be an 8?
I'm thinking let's do this as a gauntlet match. Do you know what that is?
Basically have 3 separate matches.
So two of these teams will start off, and then it's just a normal tag team match. Whoever wins
Has to face the next 2.
by a random draw, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, that'll make it easier. So who are we starting with? You want to do it the 2 OGs? The Calvins and the Rudolph Clauses? Or,
I was going to say the Christmas Chronicles.
okay, start out with them and the Calvins?
No, the OG one.
Oh, the Rudolph Clauses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard to figure out the Santas. Okay, at least the other ones have actual names. So, okay, so yeah, Santa and Mrs. Claus from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the stop motion couple there, and then the Christmas Chronicles, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. All right, so are these like, are they human? Have we humanized the stop motion Santas?
We're going to have to.
Okay, so they're actual people, but just to have those dimensions.
Because they're the only one that's not a human,
not
so
a
we'll
human.
just
So I
turn
guess
them
we'll
into
just
humans.
make them humans
Yeah.
for this moment.
And he still has a stupid big head.
Okay. Does he have the giant binky? No.
Well, if he's normal size, it won't be giant anymore.
I mean, it'll still be big because it would have to fit a 6 foot tall baby. So it's still big, but not gigantic.
I mean, it would
Not as useful.
It would essentially be a
match like
binky
this.
that would fit us, so it wouldn't really be that big.
I mean, if a baby is 6 feet tall, it's gonna have a big fat mouth.
Yeah,
you'd
its mouth is going to be the same size as ours.
No, it wouldn't be.
Yeah, what do you
If
think?
a baby had your size head, a mouth your size, like a baby's mouth is not that much bigger than not that much smaller than an adult size mouth. Because the proportions are different. Like their head is gigantic relative to their body when you're a baby.
Okay.
Look at a baby. If you make a baby 6 feet tall, that would have to be like, was that 5 times the size or 5 times the height? So their mouth would be 5 times bigger too.
But you're not expanding it. You're just like you're just making it taller, essentially.
You're not stretching it vertically, and that's it.
No, I know, but
proportionally, a baby's head is bigger than an adult person's head relative to their body.
Yeah.
So their head, if a baby is 6 feet tall, that would mean their head is like 1.5 feet wide.
I don't think it'd be that big, but okay.
What do you mean? You take a baby that's 20 inches tall as a newborn, going to 5'10" or whatever I said Santa was. What's 5'10"? That's 60, 70 inches. You'd have to multiply everything. That head size, you'd have to multiply it by 5 times. So that head is going to be 5 times taller. Right? That's how proportions work.
Can we move on to the match?
No. I want to figure this out. But yeah, it'd still be a large binky is my point.
Fine, he has the binky, but
just
it doesn't
wouldn't be
really
janky.
matter.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We gotta get this right. We gotta get the proportions right. Anyway, so we got Scott Calvin and Carol Calvin, you said was her name? No, that's not who we're starting with.
Right. Yeah.
I fucked myself up again. So Santa and Mrs. Claus from the Rudolph.
And then the Christmas Chronicles.
Are there just Mr. and Mrs. Claus in that one? They're just like Santa and Mrs. Claus? Okay. They don't have different names.
So from what I'm not familiar with the Christmas Chronicles movies, but what I'm learning when I'm just kind of do half-ass internet research, their adaptation of Santa Claus is like a magical figure, whereas the Rudolph one is just a guy.
Yeah.
That it can fly in a sleigh, but that's because of the reindeer he exploits for personal gain.
And is just not a very good caretaker there. He also seems like he's a little bit more fit. The Kurt Russell
and it's
Santa.
Kurt, Kurt Russell too.
Yeah, so he's gonna be a little more.
I'm sorry, Snake Plissken is Santa. Like that's just what it is for me.
Oh man, yeah. See, I don't know. I feel like even with his giant head, I think that's
why I wanted them to start the match, because I wanted him out. Out immediately.
I don't know. I trust Goldie Hawn in a match more than I trust that Mrs. Claus. She can't even convince Santa to eat. Eat, Papa, eat. She can't even get him to eat her meal, let alone take out Goldie Hawn. So I don't know. I feel like they're out pretty quick. So then, so who's the next?
The next one I'm saying
set?
Nick and Annette.
Okay. Now we actually did see this guy fight in that movie.
We did.
He takes on like 6'7" Fred Claus. What's the hell's his name?
Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn. Yeah. He's a big dude.
He is. Yeah.
He's a tall dude. But yeah, he fights him in that movie.
He does, but he gets winded very quickly.
Yeah, he doesn't put up much of a fight, but he does take him on.
His wife, Annette, she's gonna carry this match.
Okay.
Because I think what happens here is, like, obviously the first match was basically a squash. Kurt Russell did all the work.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he needs a break.
Yeah. So it's going to be the women taking on
It's going to be the women, and mostly in this match.
They got to start out the round, yeah.
And Annette is holding her own, because she's a badass in that movie.
Yeah.
She's like a don't fuck with her kind of wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Especially when her husband's involved, yeah.
And yeah, she's very protective
very protective.
And not like, oh, that's just Santa. No, she is like, she will die for that man.
Yeah.
So that's somebody you want in your corner.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that would give the edge to them.
But as soon as Goldie Hawn tags in her husband,
yes,
it's
Kurt Russell versus Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, we got the tables turn pretty quickly.
This is one of those matches where you have a lot of hope spots, and you're like, oh, okay, Scott, Nick, and Annette are going to do it. Like, Annette's getting the crowd fired up with how awesome she's doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, the crowd's like, oh my God, they're going to do it. They're going to do it.
She's getting like the whole sequence going. She's building up to her finisher move.
Yeah, and then,
right before the last one.
She gets like the hidden tag.
Yeah. Like
and
the sneak,
so it's like,
dive.
Annette's on top of the world, full stamina. She gets the blind tag.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, shit.
Yeah, now I got to tag in. I got to tag in Tubbo over there.
Yeah. Tubbo no hair.
Yeah.
And
then Giamatti's got to come in. Old Nick Claus.
And I think he holds his own for a few minutes, but
he's got the fury, but he doesn't have the skill. I don't think
he doesn't have the stamina to hold up.
He might be able to hold him off to get another tag in, but probably not.
I don't think he does.
It'd be pretty tough.
Yeah,
he's mostly just throwing snowballs at his brother. So
I don't think Kurt Russell lets him have the opportunity.
He's probably gonna toy with him a little.
He cuts the ring in half and keeps him on their side of the ring.
Yeah, he's gonna maybe let him get a little start to crawl over and then just grab the leg and
So I think Christmas Chronicles they move on. They win again.
All right, but they're worn now. They're beat up now. It took a lot to take down.
And now we got Scott and Carol Calvin.
Yeah, both magical.
They
both have magic in this one.
And Carol, she seems teacher, right? In the movie?
I think she's the principal. Yeah.
So she already has to put up with snot-nosed bullshit.
She's tough.
Very, very tough as nails.
You don't get to be the principal of a high school without being a little tough.
And she's very involved in that series.
Yeah.
So she knows what she's doing. So does Scott Calvin. They're both very capable.
Yeah, she's kind of like the COO of the operation up there. Yeah.
Right. So ultimately, this is one of those 5-star classic matches. Even though Christmas Chronicles, they're beaten down, they're worn down.
Yeah, I feel like they're probably the better fighters, but because they had to go through the first two, it knocks them down a little bit. It evens it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Problem is when Scott Calvin gains all that weight.
As Santa, he's a little
sluggish.
He's
not as sluggish.
Doesn't have the stamina quite yet.
He's not as sluggish as Giamatti.
Yeah, not as bad. He's still got the athletic because he's a thin guy in a fat suit.
He's got more of the athleticism and the same badass wife.
Yes, exactly. If you can get the tags in strategically and let her kind of hold off the wife.
It's one of those
while he rests up, gets back the energy, and then he can go in there and go toe to toe with Kurt.
It's like quick shifts in hockey.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to go in there for a minute and tag out. Tag out, tag out.
And then they can trade off and wear them down that way.
And they just wear them both down at the same time, and they're still kind of fresh.
Yeah.
And I still think Kurt Russell is still just damn good enough.
He's still badass. He's still probably got the speed.
He's the Iron Man of this whole matchup.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything.
Yeah.
But I think in the end,
if they can do it strategically, which I feel like they can, I feel like Carol's probably on the ball there. She's gonna have the strategy going in.
I think they'll set up some sort of double team move on Kurt.
Yeah.
And
they'll get him out. And
yeah.
I think it just being the third match, even though the first two were pretty easy for him, it's still a third match in an hour. Yeah. So it's gonna be tough. So yeah, I think that ultimately goes to Scott.
I think they just benefited from the.
He gets a little hot cocoa in the corner, really juices him up right at the end.
They benefit from the draw, from the random draw.
Yeah, being the last entrant, and they take it. And I feel like they might be the faces in this one. They might be the fan favorites at least. I like it.
Cool. So the winner.
The winner of did this have a title?
Yeah, it was the Clash of the Clauses Battle for the Jelly Throne. So
I thought you said Jelly Throne. Yeah, Jelly Throne. That sounds pretty
It's
good.
official. The official title of Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus goes to Scott and Carol Calvin. Ding, ding.
All right, and that's the show. That's the end of part 2. Jeez, I don't know why I can't talk. That's the end of part 2 of 3? No, we're not doing 2. We hope you enjoyed that as much as I love making sure we all understand giant baby proportions. And you can pay that love forward by sharing this podcast with your friends and your family, any festive folks out there, any people who love these holidays as much as we do, and making babies fight little mini adults for some reason. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts, so don't forget to subscribe on your platform of choice so you never miss a new episode. You can give us a rating and leave us a review. That really helps us get seen on all those platforms. But the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear, and the best way to spread the word about us is just telling somebody you know, tell them in person. Over these holidays, while you're watching Elf or something, just, hey, check out this podcast where they mention Elf. You can like us on Facebook and follow us at CCWisepod on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and Twitter. You can follow me on just about everything at Tyler_W. Where can everybody find you out there, buddy?
So many Christmas puns.
Yeah. Just throwing them in there.
You can follow me on Twitter at BWise23. I'm on Instagram at NotTheFakeBW. And I'm also on TikTok at NotTheFakeBrandonWise. So go ahead and join us in a couple weeks when we have a fresh episode of Counterclockwise for you.
And stay pro-holding. Good to go?
Yep.
Just clack them. Just clack my knuckles right in the microphone.
Quackalacka.